much for joining me for WSAZ Plus. I'm Shannon Litton, and we are on the WSAZ Plus desk today to talk a little bit about Fired Up Friday. Of course, we had the first one last week at Huntington St. Joe here in Huntington. Went pretty well. Now we're going to be talking about the next week, and of course, as a reminder to folks, we are doing these at 11 a.m. on Fridays now during the winter season because it just works out a little bit better for the schools. Also works out in case there is a delay. We'd run into a lot of issues with snow and what have you. So let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Joseph Payton here this morning to talk a little bit about where we're headed this weekend. A little spoiler alert there on your polo there. St. Joseph, another St. Joseph High School.
Flyer Nation.
Flyer Nation
Let's
all
go.
the way. But, of course, we're talking about Flyer Nation, St. Joseph in Ironton, of course, where we both graduated from probably the class of 2014. So
We're old heads now, man. We're unk.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah. I mean, we're both. Yeah. Let's not talk about how old we are. And when. Yeah. But anyway, class of 2014. A lot of good memories there, and now we're heading there for Fired Up Friday. Tell me a little bit of what's going on through your mind, JP. This is kind of a homecoming, I would have to assume.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not about me, but it has a special place in my heart and certainly yours for obvious reasons. And, you know, this is our school. This is our community, and so we know all of these people. We'll have, you know, plenty of relatives there getting rocking and rolling, fired up for some St. Joe basketball. More than anything, I think I just love getting into PLC and showing off that facility.
Yeah.
I said that on Studio 3 when Susan and I were previewing Fired Up Friday. I still can't believe that we have the Parish Life Center.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So to get in there, of course, get the kids going and give them something to look forward to and to have fun on a game day, but also to show the tri-state, man, you know, little school, not a lot of people in there, but we've got a beautiful facility and a lot of Flyer pride, and that's what it's all about. So that's what I'm fired up for this Friday morning.
At last check, and I mean, I know it's been a few years, but I know that back in the day, we used to be the smallest school in the state of Ohio that had high school sports. Now,
Rick
that
McKnight used to always say that.
That might have changed since then. I don't know. You know, people have to fact check me on that, but it definitely is a special place to say the least. And like you said, JP, like to have for St. Joe to have its own gymnasium now. I mean, that's a big deal for people like me and you and the people who graduated before us, because we were always using somebody else's gym to be able to to have our games. So that was like the big mission back in the day, was to have that space to call home. And now the community finally has that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's amazing to walk in a building that's purple and gold as opposed to, you know, orange and black like we were in for however long, right? I know they used to play high school basketball games in St. Joe's little old gym, and then at the Ironton Middle School for a long time, of course, when we were in high school at the Ironton Auxiliary Gym, and we certainly appreciate Ironton High School for that, but, you know, that was theirs. And for us to have our own place now, I'm so jealous of these kids that get to play basketball in there. It's awesome. But, you know, it's not just about the PLC, though. You know, St. Joe has been around for, I would say, since 1924. So you're talking over a century now. A lot of history, a lot of, you know, generations of families that have attended there. You know, my grandparents on both sides of my family went to St. Joe, as did their kids, and then, you know, some of my siblings and myself. I've got nephews and nieces, cousins that go there now. So it's kind of a family affair when you think about St. Joe. The kids that are in that building right now, a lot of their older relatives, ancestors, so to speak, went there, and I think that makes it special too. It is a family feeling in that building, and I've always said that the building at St. Joe's always smelled the same. Yeah, my parents have said that too. So I don't know what that's all about. Maybe it's the aura, smell. Built-in aura of St. Joe's.
The high school, anyway. The PLC just smells, I think, like a gymnasium.
It smells brand new.
Right, like the heart. You could smell the I guess the wax on the floors. I don't know what it is, but it smells like, you know, you're about to watch a basketball.
It is a unique smell in there.
And the popcorn. You can't forget about the popcorn during a basketball game, of course. Water only in the PLC, folks. Unless you're an adult, then, you know, they'll let you have a little pop there or something, a little bottled pop, but definitely something to look forward to. Okay, so last time we went to St. Joe, Joseph, and I say we as I was there, but obviously whenever you went and the team went to St. Joe, they were playing green.
They were.
So what's that looking like this time around?
They're playing the boys from Franklin Furnace again this Friday, if I'm not mistaken, and we love the folks in Green Township, but you know, we'll be getting the Flyers fired up on Friday. You know, last time they did have that inflatable Bobcat that they brought out, and Eli Whaley, you know, did the crossover dribble and laid it in. We oftentimes see people dunk on Fired Up Friday. I can't remember the last person at St. Joe to dunk in a basketball game live in regulation.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's been a while. It could be. You might have to go back to like somebody like Eddie Philibon.
Okay.
I don't know if Sean Hacker ever got up and yammed one in a game. It's possible.
I just remember back in the day when you and I were 6th graders, 7th graders, we were always hoping Chad Harvey would dunk one for us.
Right.
But
I mean, that you want to talk about legends of yesteryear. I thought, and Zach McGraw has said this before, I thought Chad Harvey was going to North Carolina to play basketball.
Yeah.
I truly did.
Yeah, I'll never forget whenever we were 7th graders and he was a senior and he took us out to lunch. I mean, that's a a classy guy right there.
It felt like we were going out to eat with LeBron James.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Now he's a pharmacist, so
Yeah.
making
Huge. He's big pharma now.
Big pharma. I don't know if he's big pharma. I don't want to.
This will get sent to Chad. He's like, "Real? What's this about?"
I don't want to put any allegations like
Right.
that about that. But I do know he works you know what? I'm not going to say too much about where he is. I don't want people to.
Right.
This is a big platform we have here. So he lives in Ohio. We'll leave it at that.
Huge, big.
We'll
We're
leave
very
that-
proud of Chad
Yes,
Harvey,
yes,
and of
we
course, we recall his basketball prowess. His name's hung up in the gym.
Oh yeah, the
1,000-point scorer.
1,000-point score is there.
So.
And that list, keeps growing a little bit year by year.
Yep.
So definitely some. Oh, look at that! There you are.
Oh, yeah.
There we are. They're showing us some posters.
Oh my
man.
gosh, that's
That's-
at the old Ironton Middle
Yeah,
School.
that was. I think that looks like we were 7th. I'm wearing glasses in that. I
Probably
got glasses
grade.
in 7th grade. So
Yeah.
that's whenever my vision just, went downhill. But definitely, and you're seeing here parts of your family here too,
Yep.
JP, and the community at large. So I can attest to that. The feeling there is special. It's a really tight knit community, and people there just really want you to succeed.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something. I think that video is about to end, so let's just come back to both
And
of
once
us
you see
here.
the slow-mo on the recaps, it's about over with.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's kind of how I knew that we were coming up on the ending of that.
Yep.
But you know what? It's such a good video. I'm going to rewind it. You know what? Because we like to see this kind of
And
stuff.
we can keep talking
I mean,
about St. Joe
yeah,
forever.
I mean, just look at how excited these kids are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big part of this too. The beach balls, everything, and in the middle of winter too. And I know, Joseph, at least we are having this one on Friday, to our knowledge. But the first time we went to St. Joe, we weren't able to have it on a regular Friday. What happened there?
Well, yeah, our contingency plan usually is that if there's weather in the forecast that you feel like could affect us on a Friday, we try to make, and it's not us that makes a decision, it's usually
Right.
the schools, but we try to start communicating on Wednesday afternoons like, hey, do we want to try this? Do we want to risk it? Do we want to go ahead and reschedule? And so we had, 3-4 inches of snow that week.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Monty and I just kind of said, hey, look, let's just figure out another day to do this sometime soon. The problem with this is I have pep rally scheduled each and every Friday, so we can't just
Right.
move you to the next Friday.
Exactly.
I was going to Portsmouth the following Friday, so what we ended up doing was just moving it to the following Tuesday. That's when they were playing Green. I think the Friday we were supposed to go, they were playing Clay.
Yeah.
So he ended up picking on the Green Bobcats that very next Tuesday, and so did a Fired Up Tuesday there.
Yeah. Now, Fired Up Friday on a Tuesday.
Correct.
But now, if you look at the video here, when I'm trying to look at it, you see a lot of the kids there. Of course, they have their Fired Up Friday T-shirts. I can confirm, JP, the T-shirts have been ordered.
Is that
again.
true?
Yes.
I've not heard that.
Orders were put in, to my knowledge.
Wow.
I think.
I
wanna
thought
say it
maybe
was
we were
Monday.
recycling the 2024 T-shirts.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
mean,
that's good to hear.
So I don't know what I don't know what the design looks like. I know nothing of that. I just know that they're trying to get some T-shirts made up, so to have a fresh look.
Yeah.
On Friday morning at 11 on Studio 3. So that'll be exciting too. And I'm curious to see if they'll bring some sort of we talked about seeing some of our older pictures there. I'm curious.
There's
to see if
Moses.
they'll-
Yeah.
I'm curious what they'll do with the religious aspects of
Yeah.
it. And what they'll see trying to almost welcome you home
Yeah.
for that reason.
I've heard
So-
some ideas as it pertains to maybe going back to the Old Testament and reenacting some things. I think I may have put my foot in my mouth on Studio 3 earlier this week, giving up some of their ideas, so I won't say it again. But I know that their wheels are turning. They're thinking of some of those classic Old Testament biblical stories that maybe they could reenact and weave into it. It is a Catholic school,
Yeah,
so that
absolutely.
they are going to lean into that a little bit. It's interesting because it's a fine line of you want to have fun with it, you don't want to make a mockery of it at the same
No,
time.
you don't want to be sacrilegious.
You
don't
don't.
want to get there.
I
Yeah.
will say, if you look in these videos, there's Beckham Waginger. He's in the altar server outfit there.
I would expect to see some servers again and some incense.
Yeah,
I mean, that was a nice touch the last time we were
I
there.
was telling all my relatives on Christmas Day that Jack Whaley and the boys, Ian Whaley, Eli Whaley, all those guys, I was like, I would kind of like to see some real incense this time. Last time they had him, what is that thing called, Shannon?
And that is a thurible.
The thurible. He had the thurible, and he was kind of acting it out, Beckham was, and we had a fog machine to give the impression that there was some incense. I would kind of like to see some real incense, but I don't know if, maybe the Pope would frown upon that. Father Morris might frown upon
I don't know if that's an issue of sacrilege or if it's a fire code issue at that
That's
point.
true. If we're
you know?
burning incense in there, maybe that's not what you want.
So that might not
Fire alarm goes off.
might
want to
stay. Yeah, might want to stay to the fog
Yeah.
machine for that one. But hot dog eating contest.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's another thing.
There's
I know
D Harv. Yeah, we need to get D Harv there. He's graduated, but he's
Yeah.
invited certainly.
I know we obviously that the hot dog eating just the eating contests are popular at a lot of these. Do we think that we will see more eating contests now that 11 o'clock? That's lunchtime, so kids are
That's very
essentially
true.
have an empty stomach.
Yeah, I mean stomachs could be growling. I have not heard. I thought that the hot dog eating contest was one of the highlights of the last Fired Up Friday at St.
There's that
Joe.
Bobcat.
Yep, there's the Bobcat. So I'm open to anything.
Yeah.
I really am. The thing with the eating contest, sometimes we have these big ideas and then we don't realize it's going to take them a little longer
Yeah.
to complete this challenge. They're in
funny,
my ear saying, buddy, you got to wrap
Yeah.
up. And I'm like, but he's about to finish the hot dog. So it can be hard.
I think people forget that 5 minutes seems like a long time, but 5 minutes on live TV, that drags on for a very long time.
It does.
So you got to keep people watching, you got to keep people on their toes, and you got to keep the action moving.
Yeah.
So definitely something that I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping to get down there. I haven't had those discussions.
We got to
yet,
get you in there.
But
We'll work you in.
But we'll see what happens. Maybe I can virtual in very.
You got some
very
music we
briefly,
can play,
so.
like, a WWE entrance out of nowhere. Like, oh my gosh, it's Shannon Litton.
That would be iconic. But I know those kids are looking forward to it. I know. Listen, the kids at my house, they're looking forward to it. They're ready
I'm
for
glad to
Friday.
hear it.
Friday. They were very excited the first time you came around. So they're even more excited knowing that it's coming up again. Last year, actually, they were like, "When's it going to be Fired Up Friday again?"
Yeah.
So I think it's a long overdue return to the Flyer Dome or the PLC Parish Life Center.
Think about how they've stepped up the game at St. Joe at the pep rallies. Remember the makeshift ones that we would kind of put together
yeah.
in the old gym? Remember the girls, the soccer team when we were in school was going to the district championship game, and so we kind of had a makeshift pep rally in the gym. People just kind of stood around, and we gave some speeches and then said, all right, we'll see you after
Yeah.
lunch. And even if you go back before, maybe when we were in junior high, I can remember Joe Unger giving an unbelievable speech before a game against Portsmouth East.
Yeah.
It was homecoming, and he gave an unbelievable speech in front of the whole crowd. We need something like that as well. Maybe we give the mic to somebody like Ian Whaley and just let him talk some smack.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what you need in situations like these. And another thing I remember the pep rallies, especially when it came to like homecoming and stuff, we would have dance contests. I don't know if you recall
yeah.
that too much. Here was what I thought was really kind of interesting.
We had to dance to Shakira one year.
Yes, we did. And we won. I
We
believe
did.
We did win that year, but it was always like you had to be on your toes because seniors would walk around the entire school into your classroom and would just hand you a CD. That is crazy to think about today. A CD, okay, a compact disc with just one song burnt on it. So, and CDs back then, they were a few bucks. It wasn't cheap. It wasn't a cheap ordeal. And that is when you found out what song you had to come up with, or what kind of dancing you would come up to the song that was assigned to you, because you didn't get to choose the song.
Right.
Some of them were ridiculous, others were funny. There was. I remember hearing some Backstreet Boys on there at some years, and NSYNC, and like you mentioned, Shakira. So,
Yep.
so there were some challenges to meet with this, and I believe we even got like a bag of like. What do you call them?
They gave us like props of some
Yeah,
sort,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Props that you would use maybe like for a photo shoot, but you would have to use the props in some way during the pep rally. And I don't recall how the voting happened. I don't know if the teachers chose, or if it was a mix of the teachers and the students.
I don't remember.
I don't remember that
Too
either.
long ago, yes.
It was, man, we're old. That's not a good sign. It's not a good sign, JP. But definitely some great memories there, especially during basketball season because, obviously basketball season was when we would have our homecoming dance. They've changed that since. I believe they do that during soccer season now.
This past year they did.
So,
yes.
Which is probably better for the kids too because I don't know if you recall, I think it was junior year. I believe it was junior year. They almost canceled our homecoming dance because of the snow.
Oh, the snow was always an issue
Yeah.
when it comes to homecoming.
Yeah. So, but anyway, JP, I know you're excited to return home.
It's going to be awesome.
I'm excited to see what you pull off there, and I know everybody at home will be as well. Remember, Fired Up Friday, not at 6 a.m., but at 11 a.m. on Studio 3. And, of course, that's where Joseph will be with all those segments. And we'll hopefully be able to talk about more of that next week after JP gets back. I know, JP, I know you mentioned you have to get a new pair of shoes today.
I don't have to, but I'm going to.
And
Absolutely.
they're getting let's go to camera 4 real quick here. That's JP's got an old pair of shoes.
I've been
right
wearing
now.
these for
Look at that.
yeah, you can see them in the corner. I've been wearing
we
these
go.
for like 2 years. People are probably like, "Is that the only pair of shoes he has?" So I got to
Listen, I get it. I mean, you when you get that comfortable pair of shoes, it's like I really want to wear them again.
Yeah.
It's like they're comfortable. I mean, I have a bunch of pairs of shoes, but I probably only wear 3, 4, not counting work
Right.
shoes. So, and they'll get debuted on Fired Up Friday.
They will.
So
if anyone cares,
if anybody cares, he's going to find a purple and gold pair, maybe. Probably
I don't
not.
know about that. This has to be color appropriate for
all
entire-
events. Yes, you got to
either lean into
gotta be
the
a
blue
little
and red WSAZ branding or go neutral like black and white.
Yeah, you got to go neutral, like kind of like we did whenever we were at St. Joe. That was another big fight we had
Yep.
at St. Joe. You had to have all white tennis shoes if you wore shorts,
Correct.
or dress shoes if you wore pants. So we would always try to wear shorts even in the dead of winter. But now, JP, I think that they can just be kind of neutral as long as they're black, white, or mostly gray. I think they're good to go.
I remember first week of 7th grade, I was wearing some LeBron 5s that were too much going on, and Mr. Maines, I remember telling me like, "Hey man, like
You're gonna have
that
to.
ain't it,
That
Like,
ain't
well, I've got some on the way. I've got some white ones for us.
I don't know. I don't think I can picture Mr. Maines saying that ain't it. But I'm sure.
we love him. So
I'm sure it's somewhere along those lines. That's what he has. I think he's in Florida right now.
Yeah.
I think he's retired to
he
Florida.
needs to tune in on the WSAZ app because you can stream Fired Up Friday.
That's
Remember
right.
that.
Big shout out to Mr. Maines. All right, JP, we'll let you go here. And again, Fired Up Friday, you can watch it, of course, during Studio 3 on TV, or you can watch it on your streaming television on the WSAZ Plus app. And JP, we will see you then. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you here next time. Have a good one.